Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition, Super Bowl Sunday edition of the Wdtb podcast as we get you ready for the culmination of the National Football League season. And it's only fitting, the final Sunday in the NFL. We got the whole team with us again, our full starting five. We go deeper than any podcast in the world right here on the We Do the Betting podcast. Ryan Stanko, the Beast Benny Cakes, Ben Mostoller, Joe Sunseri, Geoff Landry, and Zach Reichard alongside with me. And I am so excited to talk about the locks, the props, the crazy props, the over-unders, the take it to the windows for Super Bowl Sunday between the Bucs and the Chiefs. But before we do that, we got to start with the earth-shaking trade that went down in the National Football League last weekend. The Lions and Rams swapping quarterbacks. Geoff Landry, former quarterback in his heyday. How you feeling about this trade? Who wins, who loses, and why?
Who wins, who loses? We're going to have to wait and see how this one plays out. A lot of pieces moving from LA to Detroit. 2022 first-round pick, 2023 first-round pick, 2021 third-round pick, and Jared Goff heading to Detroit for Matt Stafford. This Goff 2 years removed from a Super Bowl, and the Rams have gotten better since then, and they're not back. They've got nothing to show for it. Speaking of that, the Rams defense went from ranked number 17 in 2019 to ranked number 1 behind Donald and Ramsey. And then their offensive line, which actually was ranked number 3 this year, up from 31 in the year past. And to build that around Goff, and he's not out there winning games for you. Not to mention they're paying him over the next 4 years what would have been $33.5 million. He should be the one out there winning games, not that defense and offensive line, which actually, was producing those wins for these guys. On the other side, you got Matt Stafford, 33 years old, 12 years in the league, 4th all-time in passing yards per game, 273.4, 16th all-time in passing yards and touchdowns. But not much to show for him there. I don't know if that's a product of him playing in Detroit. No career playoff wins. Career record is 74, 90, and 1. I think what it comes down to is maybe both guys need a little change of environment. Coming back to your first question, who wins, who loses? You'd like to think that those draft picks are going to hopefully help the Lions, with that new head coach, new management up there. But I can't wait to see Stafford play in another city. See what he can do there, because I think he's, an outstanding quarterback, and his win-loss record, I think, is partially due to the environment and, playing in Detroit his whole career.
Yeah, what a big trade it was. It was really earth-shaking. Maybe that's because it happened in Los Angeles. But I'm torn on this one. I think with what Stafford has done in his career, Geoff gave all the numbers. I mean, it is Detroit. It is the Lions, one of the worst franchises there is. But, 12 years without a playoff win or even a division title, you got to do at least something there. I know the teams are bad, but at some point win a game, win a title, do something. So I don't really know what the Rams were thinking in terms of that. I think they just really wanted to move on. It wasn't working with Goff. I think Goff and McVay had a good relationship, but I think it was just time to move on. We do know when Stafford had a top 10 defense, the 1 year he did, they did go 11-5, however. So with the Rams having the number 1 defense this year, that could bode well for Stafford. All the picks that the Rams gave up for it, we certainly realize that draft picks do not matter to the Rams. We saw what they traded to get Goff, and then now we're seeing what they had to give away to get rid of Goff. So draft picks in terms of Goff are not in favor of the Rams. So we're going to have to see how it plays out here. I think in terms of who won the trade, I really think this was good for both teams and both sides. I mean, Goff gets a fresh start, a fresh franchise. He doesn't have all this pressure of Super Bowl or bust. If he can produce in Detroit, even a playoff win, it's almost a success for him. And he will have some draft picks coming in. They got some talent at wide receiver position. So it kind of gives them a fresh start with Goff. And in terms of Stafford, he had his time in Detroit. He'll forever be remembered in Detroit. So it's a lot of pressure on Stafford now. It's almost like Stafford has that Super Bowl or bust. He has no more excuses going forward now being in Los Angeles. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out. I definitely think it was both good. It was good both ways. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, big trade. Both teams are winners in this one. Stafford, I think he's going to have a wonderful season next year with all the weapons that he has in LA, all the weapons on defense, a great defense. I think he's going to have a chance, obviously, to get into the playoffs and go far with that team. Change of scenery, like Zach said, for Goff is going to be great, and great for the Lions organization getting those picks. So I'm saying winners are both franchises, and biggest loser is Matt Stafford's wife. If she's going to complain about people wearing masks and complain about the masks in Detroit, enjoy it over there with Gavin Newsom in LA. She's the biggest loser in this trade.
I like that, Joey. But like you guys said, I think it's good for both of these quarterbacks. Obviously for Stafford to get out of there, and Goff coming out today and stating that he's happy that he can get a fresh start somewhere else, and that place is Detroit. Overall, you got to look at the draft picks, and I didn't even think that Matt Stafford was worth this much, but whatever, LA, getting 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick, and Jared Goff. I think that the Lions win this trade in the long run. 2018, Goff finished better than Stafford. He was the 6th best quarterback in fantasy compared to Stafford's 17th. In 2019, 13th overall was Goff compared to Stafford's 29th. And in 2020, Stafford did beat him out by 3 spots, but only 2 more touchdowns and 3 less interceptions. So Goff has made it to a Super Bowl. Stafford hasn't. And, there's a young team in Detroit. And you got DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson up there. We're not sure what's going to happen in the free agency coming up here at wide receiver, but some things could happen in Detroit to make this team actually pretty decent next year, even with the new coach there. So right off the bat, I say that the Lions win this trade in the long run. But Matt Stafford, if he can stay healthy, he's going into a good system there with Sean McVay. And he's already got weapons at wide receiver and 2 decent tight ends, and new upcoming running back in Cam Akers, who finished the season really hot. So I think starting right off the bat, you're going to see that this trade might help the Rams a little bit more, but in the long run, I definitely say that the Lions won this trade.
Jared Goff getting 8 games a year inside a dome, certainly good for him, not a cold weather quarterback. I think my biggest takeaway from this is what it took to get rid of the 4-year, $134 M's contract that Goff signed with the Rams. So that is an interesting note. The Rams, to finish out the deal, inherit 2 years, $43 million on the Matt Stafford deal, and the Lions will carry a dead cap hit of $17.8 million, while Detroit inherits 4 years, $106.6 million remaining on that Jared Goff deal. The Rams carry $22.2 million in dead cap. You look at the career completion numbers. Obviously, Goff has played about half the career that Stafford has. They're pretty similar. Stafford actually has a 62.6 career completion percentage. That is a little lower than Goff's 63.4. But you look at the career stats for Stafford, 9 20-plus touchdown seasons, and Goff is coming off a year where he threw just 20 touchdowns to 13 picks, sub 4,000-yard season. Goff was not the answer in L.A. If they can block for Stafford, I think he's got the receivers in Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, some tight end targets, and a good back in Cam Akers. The future offensively might be bright in LA. Now we move to our Super Bowl Sunday preview. What are the keys for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led, of course, by the greatest quarterback to ever do it, and the Chiefs, led, of course, by perhaps the greatest quarterback to ever do it by the time he finishes out his career? Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. This game might be, we talked about it on the podcast last week, perhaps the greatest Super Bowl in recent memory, even better than that Patriots-Eagles one from a few years back. I have high aspirations for this Super Bowl. Ben, as we break this game down, what does it boil down to?
Well, let's take a look at Kansas City first, and they just tore apart that Bucs pass defense earlier on in the season. Hill having just a huge game, 200 plus yards in that one, 269 yards when they played. So it's the key for them is just to do what they did last time, be able to throw the ball, and you're playing into Patrick Mahomes' strong suit, getting the ball to Kelsey, getting the ball to Hill, and opening up that passing game is going to be hard for this Bucs defense to stop. If they can continue that, they'll have success. I'd like to see them try to get a running game going. I know that hasn't been their strong suit, and they did struggle the last time they played Tampa Bay with the run. So if they could get a little bit of a run game going, it might even benefit them more in their favor. Take a look at Tampa Bay on the other side. They just need to make less mistakes. Tom Brady, 3 interceptions last week, and they luckily beat a good Packers team because the Packers could not capitalize on that. And then when they played the last time, the Chiefs and the Bucs, 2 interceptions for Tom Brady, and they lost the game. So if Tampa Bay can lower those interceptions and make less mistakes, I think they have a better shot at beating this tough Kansas City team. And again, if you can get the running game going, which they struggled with last time, that will better help them. Fournette has looked good so far in the playoffs. If they can get Fournette going and open up this passing game a little bit better for Brady, Brady can hit all his targets. Tampa Bay will be set up for a key victory. But again, we're not looking at much defense here. I don't think it'll be a higher scoring game. So the key is who can make the less amount of mistakes. We'll find out on Sunday.
Yeah, here we go. We are now officially only days away from the big game, as you would say they were calling it here. Keys to the game for me, I got to start with the offensive line for the Chiefs. Obviously, we know they're banged up there. They have Eric Fisher as the most recent key loss. So that's going to be the biggest key for me, how the Chiefs offensive line can handle that Bucs defensive line. And we know when it comes to Super Bowls and beating good teams, it's a lot about getting pressure from the defensive line and attacking the QB, especially someone of Patrick Mahomes' caliber. So that's the first thing that comes to mind to me for the key. And second is I'm really interested to see this matchup between Andy Reid and Tom Brady. When you think about preparation for a game and guys that know how to get ready for a game, those two guys have to be the two of the best, if not the two best, when it comes to coming off a bye. We know what Andy Reid does and his history with coming off of that, and obviously Tom Brady, his career speaks for himself, how he prepares and figures teams out and knows what to do watching film. So that's another key matchup for me as well. We also got to factor in the home field that the Bucs are going to be playing on. They are making this neutral site as possible. The Buccaneers are not allowed to fire any of the cannons from their famous pirate ship at all. So that is out of the question for them. So that might be a little bit weird for the Bucs being at their home field. So we'll see how that plays out. But those to me are some of the key matchups in terms of the big game.
Yeah, the keys of the game are pretty simple, and I think we're all going to touch on this. With the injuries that the Chiefs have at their offensive line and Wdtb being able to return for the Super Bowl, Jason Pierre-Paul, Vita, Donkey Kong Sue, they're all going to try to get after the quarterback. If the Chiefs can figure out a way to get their blocking schemes down, I think the Chiefs are going to win in this one, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that easy with all the pass rushers that the Buccaneers have, especially if they're healthy in the secondary with Whitehead and Winfield Jr. I think they're going to give them a tough game. But yeah, I think that offensive line injury might be a deal breaker for the Chiefs with the Bucs being able to get to the quarterback.
Man, Zach, I would have loved to see the Bucs get that home field advantage with a max capacity stadium. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that, but they'll still be local with much home game advantage as possible over the Chiefs they've got. Break this down into two keys of the games on each side. For the Chiefs, number one, they got to pressure Tom Brady. Don't let him step up in the pocket, get him uncomfortable, make him throw off his back foot, move left and right. And hit, like you said, Ben, throwing those 3 picks. That's what they need to force them to do this week. And the other thing the Chiefs got to do is they got to protect Mahomes. Offensive tackle Eric Fisher out with an Achilles injury, and then they've been without their other offensive tackle Mitchell Schwartz since week 6 or week 7, something like that. So you're gonna have two OTs that got to step up for them. Then the two keys for the Bucs. Number one, same thing that the Chiefs had to do with Brady, is the Bucs got to pressure and contain Mahomes. Those 2 offensive tackles out, including Eric Fisher, newly out. There's some holes in that offensive line that they've got to exploit. Last thing for the Bucs is get the ground game going, control the ball and time of possession. Ronald Jones and Lenny Fournette back there. The Chiefs with the 19th ranked run defense, giving up 121.9 yards on 26.8 carries. They're giving up 4.6 a pop. So, maybe not the strength of the Bucs offense, but they got to get that ground game going. Those are my keys.
Now, Joey, you mentioned Donkey Kong Sue. I go back a couple of years and I think about that Cam Newton press conference when he had to prepare for Donkey Kong Sue and his former Auburn teammate Nick Fairley. Now, fortunately, Patrick Mahomes only has to prepare for Donkey Kong Sue and not Cam Newton's former Auburn teammate Nick Fairley. But for me, this game boils down to the Chiefs and the Bucs passing offenses, right? The Chiefs number 1, the Bucs number 2 passing offense this year in the league. The Chiefs number 1 pass yards per game in the postseason, and that coincides with Tampa, who was 21st against the pass this season, and the Chiefs 13th. So my matchup is, how is Tampa's pass defense going to handle Kansas City's passing offense? It's hard to blitz Patrick Mahomes and it's hard to blitz Tom Brady. But when you have game-breaking speed like Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman and a guy that can go over the middle of the field like Travis Kelce, I just don't know if Tampa Bay's pass defense is going to be effective enough to stop Kansas City. That's why there could be points galore in this game. And the thing I keep bringing myself back to is the only teams worse in the postseason against the pass, 264 yards per game. That's what Tampa allowed, are the Bills, Colts, Washington football team, and Cleveland, 2 of which Kansas City destroyed. So if Tampa can halt the pass, they can win. I don't think Tampa's going to stop the pass. No one has all year against Kansas City. So that's something I'm going to be keeping my eye on Sunday for, air quotes, the big game. As we look at the line, the Chiefs are laying down 3 in Tampa's home stadium, although it's a neutral site game. Over under on DraftKings set for 56. That's almost right at what it was last year for Chiefs and 49ers. Joey, where do we come down on this one? Because I've been going back and forth all week.
I'm going with Bucs straight and under. I think that's going to be my prediction for the game.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, this is as tough as it gets. It's a Super Bowl. They tend to be close. I think -3 is the most likely odds spread that the Super Bowl has. I think it's always been -3 in terms of most likely spread. I've been picking against the Bucs all playoffs. I feel like I got to keep riding that. I don't know if that's good or bad for me, but I'm going to go Chiefs -3. I'm going to also take the under in this. Super Bowl, I think teams extra week to prepare, that kind of slows the offenses down. Obviously, we know the nerves are high. I think both teams are going to try to run the ball and minimize the other team's offense, try to have long drives, long possessions, because they know both offenses can score. We obviously know Brady types of games wherever he gets the run game going, has that 9-minute drive and a touchdown, running the ball. I think that bodes well for the under. 56 is just so many points, especially in a Super Bowl. We saw the past 2 Super Bowls have gone under. Obviously, the Patriots-Rams famous game where it was no touchdown scored at halftime. And last year, the game was 20s to 18. So I'm going to go Chiefs -3 and under 56.5.
Hey, Ryan, before I give you my prediction, we got a celebrity here, Mike Whitico. He said we're going to put him on the spot here, see what he's got to say.
Celeb
North Carolina.
Thanks, Geoff, and to the millions listening around the world right now. Throw my 2 cents in. Yes, the line with -3 KC and the 56 for the over/under. I think Vegas and the wise guys got it pretty spot on. I think it's even though everyone's thinking about the 2 studs, the receiver for the Bucks with Godwin and Evans, and then the other side with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. I honestly think it's going to come down to the quarterback play and who's going to make that play come the stretch down in the fourth quarter. And even though notoriously and almost unarguably at this point, Brady's considered the GOAT, I think it's going to be passing the torch where Mahomes kind of takes control of the league and gets that back-to-back Super Bowl trophy. And I think there's going to be the first half's going to be kind of a tight, a couple of turnovers by the offenses, but I think the third quarter is going to be a flurry of points and potentially Mahomes making that big play to Kelsey for a touchdown at the end of the game to cover that -3 spread and also the over. So that was my prediction for the game.
Mike.
Shout out, Mike. Thanks for coming on the show, bud. Appreciate that.
Hitting up the millions and millions listening coast to coast.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for pointing that out. I don't think we give the listeners enough credit. Thank you guys for tuning in and making what we do worthwhile. Back to the predictions here. I think you guys already know I'm taking Brady and the Bucks. Tampa +3, along the lines with what Zach said, a little extra time to prepare and go with under 56. And Mike, you said Vegas. Do you think they're right with the -3? I wonder where they got that from. Maybe the earlier game when the Chiefs beat them by 3, 27-24. Another, I think it's going to end with a Tom Brady last-minute drive, game-winning drive. All 9 Super Bowls Brady's played in, 8 of them have been one-possession games, win or loss. So I think it's going to continue that trend. And not every quarterback in the NFL has got basically a half season worth of Super Bowl stats where you can't say that they're just anomalies here and there. You can actually get some data from Tom Brady's Super Bowl stats. Tom Brady's regular season career, he averages 263 yards per game. In Super Bowl performances, he's averaging 52 more yards per game, put him at 315 in Super Bowl performances. Tom Brady is the GOAT. He's a primetime player, and he's going to step up again on Sunday.
Yeah, anytime you get free points or free line, I'm taking that, and especially with Tom Brady playing the Super Bowl at their home field there in Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay +3. I like the Chiefs to squeak out the win, but I'm taking the points there +3. I'm playing the under as well. Since 2005, only 3 times has the Super Bowl score gone over that 56-point mark with some pretty good offenses back years ago. So I'm going to play the under. They didn't get there in the first game. I think, again, like you said, getting the weeks to prepare. They're going to come out a little slow. They want to try to get those offenses off the field quick. Or we'll see what happens, though. So +3 Tampa Bay and play the under.
Guys, this is simple for me. Both teams went over last week in their respective NFC and AFC championship games. 2 of the league's best passing offenses, both defenses suspect against the pass. No huge rushing attacks either way. I think the ball is going to be in the air most of the night. That makes for a long football game, an entertaining football game. And dear God, don't give us anything close to what we had between the Patriots and the Rams. If I have to suffer through a Super Bowl Sunday with no touchdowns at the half, I'm going to need a drink or two or three or four. So hopefully we don't get to that point. Yes.
Hey, Ryan, maybe we can get together, have a couple Pepsis, watch a game.
Oh, if there's no touchdowns at the half, Geoff, we're going to be spiking the Pepsis, brother. I'll tell you that. But it's simple. It's simple for me. It's just I don't see either rushing attack getting going. I have so much respect for both passing offenses. I think the Chiefs are going to be playing with the lead in this one. I think Tampa's going to be chasing, much like that Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl where Brady threw for over 500 yards and they came up just short. That's what I'm looking at. Something like that this week. I am confident in the Chiefs covering, repeating, and hammer the over. Now it's time for my favorite segment. The favorite segment we do, it's when we dive into these props. This is something me and Geoff get a little more passionate about than the rest of you guys. But what player props are we going to zero in on? Guys, bear with me. I got a few. Patrick Mahomes got the turf toe issue. That's healed. He's not getting concussed this week. He was going to smash his rushing prop against Cleveland until he got knocked unconscious. Right now, the over-under on his rushing yards sits at 19 and a half. Think back to the Super Bowl against the 49ers. They were chasing to come back, but Mahomes got 9 attempts in that game, and he's not afraid to scramble. That defense was very similar to this Tampa Bay defense. Very good pass rush. I think Mahomes is going to be able to step up in the pocket. Give me 2 or 3 rushes from Mahomes, and I think he smashes the over with his legs. You guys mentioned the GOAT, Tom Brady. 295 and a half is where his yards prop sits. He's had 33 or more attempts in his last 4 games. Hammer that. Give me Brady spreading the ball around like we've seen him do so often. I don't think he's going to make the mistakes that he made against Green Bay. He kicked his entire family out of their mansion in Florida, said, I need some time to prepare. They have 10 bedrooms down there in Florida, and Brady said, beat it. Daddy's got to get ready for the big game. So I think Brady's going to be down, and he's not going to be turning the football over, and I think he's going to be well over 300 yards passing. Interesting rushing prop for Tom Brady. It's 0.5 Tom Brady's rushing yards. Now, the only instance where Tom runs is those 1 yard to go situations, whether it be 3rd or 4th and 1 or at the goal line when they're trying to punch one in. Brady's only gone over 0.5 rushing yards 3 out of the last 12 games. I'm playing the under on Tom Brady. Not confident that he's going to get it done with his legs. Just not his game. A few more that I like. Tyreek Hill. The last time he played Tampa, 269 receiving yards. I see that yardage prop fluctuating between 92 and 94. Hammer that. Hammer it. He's got 9 for 172 and 8 for 110 so far in the 2 playoff games this year. He's going to get that 7 to 8 catch window. He's going over 100 yards. And you know what we do around here? Call us up and thank us later. His partner in crime, Travis Kelce. Listen to this astronomical statistic in the playoffs. 62.6 of Patrick Mahomes' passes have targeted Hill or Kelce. Now, you might think, well, that's obvious. That is an astronomical target share for those two of the two-headed monsters. So I'm going to play Kelce's over on his yards because he's knocked it out of the park in both games in the playoffs, 94 and a half. And just, I look at that number, 62% of the targets either going to Hill or Kelce. That is insane. And one more for fun. Mecole Hardman, I saw on one of the smaller betting sites, his over-under rushing prop, if you can find it. I doubt FanDuel or DraftKings does it, but if you can find it, 0.5 rushing yards is his prop. He had 50 last week. He runs a 4.3. If he gets 1 carry, he's going to have a positive game. I think Andy Reid might have something up his sleeve and he has gotten a carry in 4 of the last 5 games. So that's something interesting if you can find that. But those are the props we're locking in and taking to the window for the big game.
Yeah, I'll start us off here with my prop. As you guys know, I haven't been real big on the props this year, especially not as big as you guys have. But it is the Super Bowl. It is the biggest game of the year, so I got to get on the action a little bit here. And with knowing that I do have a prop in mind, one prop in the mind, you know that it is an absolute lock. So my prop is going to be Darrell Williams, running back for the Chiefs, over 30.5 rush yards. This number is just way too low for me right now. In the divisional round versus the Browns, he had 78 rush yards. And in the conference championship game, he had 52 rush yards versus the Bills. So that number being at 30.5 just is way too low for me. He has crushed that in both the 2 previous playoff games. I think they are going to continue to roll with him in the playoffs. Obviously, we know Edwards is a little bit banged up and not too sure what's going on with Le'Veon Bell. So I think they're going to just roll with the momentum that they have going with Darrell Williams. The 30.5 rush yards is just way, way too low. It's an absolute lock. Hammer everything you can on his over rush yards here, and let's roll with it.
Stank. Let me hit on 2 that you mentioned, Tom Brady. I'm taking over 0.5 rush yards. Like my chances, Tom, getting a sneak here. So I had that one down. I thought you were going to roll with me on that, but you took the under. Man, I would hate to be rooting against a Tom Brady QB sneak. Then the other guy.
Hey, give some people some perspective. We're not always just going with one another every single week. So it's nice to have some opposition on the props. How about that?
How about that? Tyreek Hill over 6.5 catches. Lock that one in. Again, like you mentioned, against the Bucs, he went 13 for 269 and 3 touchdowns. He's gone 8 of his last 11 games with 10+ targets. With targets come the receptions, 8 and 9 in the last 2 games, respectively. Tyreek Hill over 6.5 receptions. Another one I got, Patrick Mahomes, his over-under passing yards set at 332.5. In 7 NFL playoff starts, Patrick Mahomes has failed to go beyond 325. In a game like this, I don't even know why they set it that high, but I'm playing the under 332.5. Ronald Jones III.
That's Dad.
Yep, what he said. Like I mentioned, the 19th ranked rush defense in Kansas City, they got his rushing yards set at 35.5. He went 9 for 66 against Kansas City earlier this year. I think they're going to want to control the clock, get that ground game going. Going to take him over 35.5 rush, and I'm also going to take him over 2.5 receiving yards. The Chiefs have yielded the most receiving yards to running backs during the regular season at 851. Ronald Jones has gone 12 out of his 19 games with at least 1 catch. If he factors into the passing game at all with a catch, he's got to go over 2.5. So I like Rojo over on the rush yards, over on the pass yards. And then my last one, a guy who's come up big for the Bucs here in the playoffs, especially in the last 3 games, Scotty Miller. His over under receiving yards set at 13.5. He's gone over 13.5 in 50% of his games this year, including all 3 of the Bucs playoff games. So recap: Mahomes under 332.5 passing yards. Scotty Miller over 13.5 receiving yards. Rojo over 35.5 rushing yards, over 2.5 receiving yards. Tom Brady over 1/2 rush yards, and Tyreek Hill over 6.5 receptions.
Get out a pen and paper, folks. Write these down.
Take them to the bank if you want a little extra spending money. Valentine's Day coming up. Get your lady something nice.
And I'm going with Tom Brady over the 1/2 yard rushing, and I'm going to paint you a picture. Super Bowl Sunday, everyone's going to be watching. like you guys said, this is going to be an air attack. I think a lot of passes. The refs are going to want some FaceTime and call some sort of pass interference. The Bucks get it on the one. Tampa Tom sneaks it in. So add it in anytime touchdown rushing Tom Brady to that over 0.5.
Hey, Joe, I think that brings up a good point.
And two-legged.
We've seen these refs take the game into their own hands as of late, what you guys saw last week in the Bucks game. And, hey, it might be a fade route to Gronk. Tampa Tom, if he sees a hole in that D-line, he's keeping the ball in his hands. I like it, Joe. Over a half yard and the anytime score on the same play. That's called 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, just parlay that sucker.
Maybe take all your rent money, put it on that.
That's for the degenerate bet later, but
We might need to talk about this because I'll tell you what, you guys have me thinking now, maybe, just maybe, a parlay with Brady going over on the rush and an anytime touchdown might be something we play. I don't know. I look at that 3 of the last 12.
It's going to be me playing it for sure.
Hey,
3 of the last 12. Brady, hey, listen. Brady, only 3 of the last 12 games that he's done that. That's one thing.
That's what he wants you to think, brother. And then it's on a 1 and he gives him a little tickle and goes in there,
One thing you guys didn't say about 0.5 here is Brady's interceptions for the Super Bowl. Right now, his interceptions are sitting at 0.5. I think he hits over on that. He threw 3 interceptions last week, 2 interceptions versus the game against the Chiefs before. Maybe he only makes 1 mistake, but that will count there for you if he at least makes 1 interception there, throws 1. Pretty much, guys, you covered it all, though. I had Brady over. I like Kelsey's over in yards. I like Hill's over in yards. And I'm going with the 0.5 interception there. But
Benny,
a lot of
Tom
good.
Brady protects the ball in the Super Bowl. Only 6 interceptions in 9 career games. It's right around the half. I was looking at that one myself, and I'm thinking the way Tom's been playing, he might let one fly, throw a pick, but I just had to come back to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. But I mean, I like where you went with it.
Yeah, so those are my bets. There's a lot of good ones though. I also like the Williams one that Zach brought up. I think that is a very good play as well. I was looking at that one, but yeah, there's a lot of good opportunity here. I think the numbers are set at a reasonable price, especially with the yards for Kelsey and Hill. I mean, I think they at least each get close to that 100 mark. And, either one of those can go off. So a lot of good ways to make money here in the Super Bowl.
Now comes the time, everyone's favorite time of the week. It's the metaphorical basketball analogy where you pull your shorts up, you smack the floor, and you say, it's go time. It's time for our Super Bowl locks of the week. We've put out some good plays, some good props, some good over-unders for the Super Bowl, what we like line-wise, but what do we have the most confidence in? What are we willing to take to the window, hand it in, and then not even have to watch because we know it's going to hit? I'm going to hit leadoff, something I rarely get to do, especially back to my baseball career.
You always batting cleanup, buddy.
Mazzono's coach, and then you're on a pine.
Back to our baseball days back in the day. But yeah, me, it's Tyreek Hill over 6.5 receptions. I'll tell you why. He's done it in each postseason game this year. And Tyreek Hill has done it in his last 3 postseason games. That would be the 2 this year. And of course, the Super Bowl victory when he went absolutely bonkers against the number 1 defense in the National Football League, Robert Saleh and company in San Francisco. So I love me some Tyreek Hill. Give me the cheetah. Andy Reid's going to get him the ball, and he's going to get Andy Reid points.
I like it. I'm going with a little parlay here with the player props that I think will hit. I'm going with Brady over 295 yards. I think that he'll do that pretty easy, and you're getting that at plus 325, which is a good one there. Pad that with his over 0.5 interception. I think he's going to throw at least 1. So add that to that parlay, as well as Hill over 92.5 yards. I think he gets over that easily. He had 269 last time out. And then I'm going with the receptions as well. Ryan, you said it clear as day. He's going to get over those reception marks for sure. So take those 4 to the bank and thank us later.
Stank, I'm with you. I gave you a laundry list of props I like, but the one that I'm taking to the bank, the number one, Tyreek Hill over 6.5 catches. You hit on it. He did it in both playoff games this year. Did it in his last 3 playoff games, as I mentioned earlier. 8 of his last 11, he's had 10-plus targets. And earlier this year against the Bucks, 13 for 269 and 3 scores. 13 doubles up the 6.5. Tyreek Hill, take it to the bank.
I got Tom Brady over 1.5 yards rushing, either whether it be over half a yard, my bad. I was getting to if it's going to be a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1, or from the 1 yard line going to goal. I think Tommy's going to tickle it and go in there.
This is simple for me, boys. Darrell Williams over 30.5 rush yards. It's an absolute lock. 78 rush yards the first playoff game, 52 rush yards the second playoff game. He's almost been doubling that on average. Darrell Williams over 30.5 rush yards for the Kansas City Chiefs. Take it to the bank. Lock.
Now we get to have some fun. There are some crazy Super Bowl props every single year. The length of songs, will there be a wardrobe malfunction, and the color of the Gatorade that goes on the winning coach. I dug deep, and I found one of my favorite props, and it's specific to where Tampa Bay plays. There is a prop out there. PointsBet has it listed. Any player to throw a football into the cannon portal, the touchdown cannon portal. So the hole where the cannon comes out when the Buccaneers score. Of course, Zach, you already mentioned they won't be shooting the cannon because it's a neutral site, but there are holes in the ship in the end zone. So any player to throw a football into the cannon portal during a post-touchdown celebration, that is plus 5,000 odds for yes, for that to happen. It's insane that they even post it, but hey, maybe it hits.
Maybe if you know someone out there playing, let them know. Split the cash with them.
Maybe if the Bears get in it next year and they're in Tampa, we'll tell JP to throw it in there.
All right, Stank, let me give you mine. If you want to win some money before the game, you can go heads or tails, 50-50 on the coin toss. Or the one I'm going with, the national anthem, over under set at 1 minute and 59 seconds. 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, it's gone over. This year, we're going to have Eric Church and Jasmine Sullivan with a duet. No data on Eric Church singing the national anthem before a sporting event. Jasmine Sullivan sang it at 1:38, 2016 NHL Stadium Series game. And depending on how you clock it, the beginning of the last word or the end of the last word, she was at 1:44 to 1:49 at a 76ers game in 2014. The last duet that went in 2006, the anthem went 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Jesus. So, hey, when you got the duets, maybe they feel each other out a little bit, harmonize together.
Church country or?
Yeah, Eric Church's country too.
Take the over.
So yeah, I'm taking the over on the anthem. I'm not going to lock that in like Tyreek Hill over catches, but I like the anthem over 1 minute and 59 seconds due to it being a duet performance.
Since 2001, the Gatorade bath, purple's only been twice, plus 800 odds. One of the only teams to ever use the purple were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2003. So I'm just going to go with superstition, hope that the Bucs win, and they give Bruce old purple shire.
That's not a bad one. The Gatorade cooler is obviously always one of the most interesting props here. So for my prop, I'm going to go with the halftime show and the halftime performance that is being done by The Weeknd. This is one of the halftime shows that I'm looking most forward to. I really like The Weeknd, and I really like the odds
Who
on.
doesn't like The Weeknd, Zach? Bridie? Saturday, and so forth.
Yeah, you can't beat it. So one of
What's
the
that
props,
like?
one of the props here is picking what the first song will be played by the weekend. And I was digging into this a little bit here, and you get great odds on it. Obviously, we know he has a list of 8 to 10 songs that is usually performed, so the odds are high because picking one out of those 10 is very difficult. Coming in at number 1 best odds is Starboy at plus 350. So if you picked a favorite song in this, you're already up to plus 350 odds. Great odds for selecting this right. And In the Night is the least favorite at plus 4,500. So some really good odds here picking the halftime song, what it could be, picking it correct. I'm picking Can't Feel My Face to be his first song, which is one of his most popular songs. It's a feel-good song. It won a Teen Choice Award, so it's for the people, for the kids. This comes in at plus 425. I like those odds, love those odds. It's such great odds there for just picking a song. It's interesting. You never know what's going to happen with that. You're coming out hoping he performs one of these. And obviously we have Heartless, which is another option here. That's plus 1,000. That's a big song, recent song that he has performed as well. So if you're a fan of the weekend, if you're a fan of the halftime performance here, I really highly suggest taking a shot at one of these songs and going with them. I am picking Can't Feel My Face at plus 425. One other interesting prop as well. This is just one that I saw was placed and went in. Someone put $10,000 on the opening kickoff to be a touchback, which is a really interesting prop. I mean, that seems like it's almost a guaranteed lock the way kickoffs are nowadays. Most are touchbacks. I don't know what this person is thinking, wagering that kind of money to get a return of plus $200. Maybe that's just his way of laundering money, or however you want to say it. That could be an interesting way. Obviously, most famously, we have back in 2007 when Devin Hester actually received the opening kickoff and returned it for a touchdown, the one and only time it's been done in Super Bowl history. But this prop is just having the kickoff to be a touchback. So very risky to only get $200 back. That could be some good odds to put on it as the opening kickoff being not a touchback. So take a look into that one if you like high odds as well. So those are my 2 fun props for the big game.
I love props. It's just fun and cool to look into it and see what people are betting. But I'm going back to the Gatorade color. Last year it was orange. I picked orange, and I'm going to go with orange again. The Gatorade dumped has been orange in 5 of the last 11 Super Bowls, but clear holds the record for most consecutive years used and the most ever at 8. Red is the most common color that has never been dumped on a winning coach. Could it be red? Who knows? The odds are actually pretty big for red this year at plus 285. But I'm going to go with orange. Orange is at 6, trying to catch up with clear there at 8. So why not? Chiefs win again. They use orange again, plus 135. That's where I'm headed.
Stank, I got one more real quick before you go. Big doinks in the Super Bowl, plus 1,000 for a field goal to hit the crossbar. Suck Up had some big doinks, and Harrison Butker also has some big doinks. So big doinks in the Super Bowl for plus 1,000. I'll take that.
These props are absolute degeneracy. I absolutely
big doinks in Tampa.
It's absolutely insane. Gatorade cooler, the weekend songs. We went from just sheer football knowledge and research to just, and that's what makes it so fun. That's what makes the big game so much fun. Just pure degeneracy. Zach, that's awesome. That statistic about the better wagering 10 grand to win 200 on a touchback. I will say this: the first kick from the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game was a touchback. The first one from the Bucs also was a touchback. So imagine if those teams want to, get, because there's an interesting thing there is that there's always a possibility that the kicker kind of pooches it trying to pin them back. Who knows? There's so much amped up energy for a kickoff in the Super Bowl. So those are a few things that we like to have fun with as we wind down here. And there's no better way to send off our loyal listeners than with an absolute degenerate bet that Joey's going to take to the window and hopefully win. Joe, dial me up something kooky, crazy, insane that I get to root for, and it won't be my money on the line.
So if you're going to do a degenerate bet, you got to do something crazy. So we're going to bet mostly human cockfighting. We got Beneil Dariush versus Diego Ferreira, UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Volkov this Saturday night. Both fighters are 5-0 in their last fights, but Dariush is younger and he's looking to move up the rankings. So we're taking Beneil Dariush plus 100. Macy Chiasson is the longest fighter in like any of the girls. If you look at her height, that's the only thing I'm basing it strictly off of. 5'11", 72-inch reach, 7-1 to go over Renaud. So Chiasson straight up. Corey Sandhagen is minus 420, but I'm taking Sandhagen to finish Frankie Edgar in the co-main event. Alistair Overeem and Alexander Volkov, out of their last 10 fights combined, there have been 8 by finish, 8 by knockout. So I'm just having Overeem and Volkov to go into, or to finish, not go the distance. And then Bucks plus 7.5. That's been working so far. So we're going to keep that one rolling. I'll come out with a video. I'm trying to think of some sort of preference or wrestling like old promo that I could throw into it. So there still will probably be a video tomorrow. Might have to do something with Hot Tom, like Dusty Rhodes.
We do love those at the end of every week, something for people to think about. We haven't hit on one of those yet, Joe, but we're right around closing in. So
they're getting
say you do. You do.
And Stank, or before we go off, you had Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble. He got eliminated. So here's my next thing for you to pick. Edge won the Royal Rumble. Who's he going to face at WrestleMania? Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, or Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship? Who do you think Edge is going to go against, and who do you think he has the best chance of beating in a match?
Chris Benoit.
No, he has no chance. He'll choke him out.
No, I no wrestling insight. Benny, you want to give me some wrestling insight?
He's gonna face Drew McIntyre. We talked about it before we got on the air. That's my opinion. I think there's other things set up for the rest of them, but he's going after the Raw champ.
What do you mean other things set up?
Well, I'm saying you got
Are you trying to say wrestling's fake?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's fake.
Hey,
Jeff,
I agree with you.
Jeff, save us, please. No wrestling. Save us.
First, Benny, I agree with you. Definitely going to be McIntyre. But hey, Stank, we got to let the listeners in on that little friendly wager we have going on. Super Bowl wager dating back to 2 years ago. I took the Pats. You took the Rams. Tom Brady, Jared Goff jersey on the line. Good thing the Rams didn't win. That Goff jersey would be hanging in the closet forever with the other 100 you got. But hey, I'm calling you out right now, buddy. I'm taking the Bucks. I'll give you the Chiefs. Add to my Brady jersey collection. Chiefs win. I get you Mahomes.
They can't be from China. They gotta be from NFL.com.
Give me that red, crispy, clean Patty Mahomes with the Super Bowl patch on it. I want to remember the day one of my favorite quarterbacks in the National Football League. We know who my favorite quarterback is, but probably my second favorite quarterback in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes. I love watching the Wizard work. Jeff, I think he's going to work your Bucks and send Brady home. I don't care how many hours of film Tom Brady watches. I want the Chiefs to win. I need it. I can't deal with another off season of Tom Brady's celebration videos, pictures, and kissing his kids.
So are you accepting the bet?
Yes.
All right, just checking. And one last thing, I got one quick round
I
table.
think it'll be an NFL shop jersey, though. I ain't got no funds.
Yeah, well, China's fine. Hey,
No funds?
one last question for the table. Super Bowl MVP. Who's it going to be? I'll go last. I'm going to pass it to Joe. We got Whitico still around. We're going to get him. We don't need any explanation. Just drop a name. Who's going to be the MVP?
Before we do that, Stank, yes or no? You coming over for the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay, Antonio Brown. Mike.
Big Patty Mahomes.
Zachy.
Hi.
Daryl Henderson.
No.
Daryl Henderson, when did the Rams play?
Daryl Champion
to win it. I am going to go a little bit off. I was looking at the odds here while we were discussing this here. The odds are absolutely insane for this. Obviously, Mahomes, Brady have odds right around plus 190 and minus 120. Then after that, it just is a complete fall off from here. I am actually going to go a little bit wild with a crazy odds. I'm going to go with Shaquille Barrett plus 4,000. He's attacking that Chiefs offensive line that is depleted and banged up. He's going to control the game, force a couple fumbles, and get the Super Bowl MVP.
I like that, actually.
I'm going to go ahead here and just like in 2018, last Pats Super Bowl, Julian Edelman won it. I'm not sure which Buccaneers receiver is going to win it, but I think it's going to be one of them. If I had to pick on the spot, I'm going to give it to Mike Evans. Mike Evans, he's at plus 3,000 on the odds. He's the favorite receiver out of the Bucs to win it. So I'm going to go with Evans. If not Evans, I think it's going to be one of those receivers, either Godwin or Brown.
Benny.
Give me Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going against.
Ben wants Russell Gage.
I can't. But if I would go anywhere else, I'd throw out Tyreek Hill.
Hold on, Ben. We asked for the Super Bowl MVP, and that was a good answer. But if it was your MVP, how would you decide between Austin Hooper and Russell Gage?
Boy, that's tough. Whoever's the cheaper bargain that week.
Yeah, put the money on down for your kid's college.
My favorite MVP might be J.P. Holtz of the Chicago Bears. Shouts, Jeff. Now, before we close out here and I give my MVP pick, I want you guys to think about this and the importance that the quarterback position means, at least in the eye of the voters. When the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes was good. Damian Williams was great. 2 touchdowns in that game. He should have been the MVP, but it didn't matter because at the end of the day, they give it to the quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is my pick. And before I send us off, I'm not going to go on a long rant. I'm just going to plead with the NFL. Please, 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 please do not let a controversial call decide the outcome of this football game. I beg you. I don't want to see the replays. I don't want to see the late flags. I want a clean game, and I don't want the refs to have an impact on who wins and loses, because when the refs do impact the game, it usually means Tom Brady wins. So please get it right, NFL. Please get it right. No screw-ups, no controversial calls, a clean game, and give us what we've waited for all year long. We didn't know if we get through the year with COVID, conquered COVID. How about we conquer our own demons? Officiate the game, call it the same way, both ways, and just let the players on the field decide the football game. And
what if it's the right call, though? The refs got his flags, man. If it's the right call, you got to call
it. If it helps my bet, throw the flag.
I'm hoping for no controversial calls. I'll accept all the right calls. I don't want controversy. I just want the game to be decided one way or the other. Please, 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 please. I don't want to have one of these replays decide the game where everyone says, oh, that's for sure going to be this way. And then out of left field, here comes the call in from New York, and it's the exact opposite direction. So no Nickel Roby-Coleman flashback. No flashback of last week's NFC Championship game. Maybe I'm pleading with the football gods and not necessarily the refs of the NFL, but please let us have a clean finish to this game. But for all of our listeners out there, we put out pick after pick after prop after prop after crazy prop. Have fun, enjoy it, bud, and kick back with your buddies and watch the greatest game that we have seen all year long. And at the end of the day, you know what to do. Everybody, chime in with me. What do we tell our people to do on 3? 1, 2, 3. Thank us later. And with that, we sign off on our last football podcast with game action impending for the following week. The WDTB broadcast is funded by our wallets. And with that,
Terminix.
We say goodbye and Terminix and enjoy the big game.